I'd really like to see more orientation towards meeting the needs of people in balance with the planet, rather than just the needs of organizations. So our team of in-house designers and technologists works across all of our missions, and that includes everything from, developing or improving services or ventures. For example, with partners in the north of England, local authorities to improve take-up of early years services, as well as things like building digital products. So for example, we produced a calculator to help you understand how much a heat pump might cost, as well as things like systemic design, where we ran a great workshop with food industry partners to prototype potential policy implications. And then finally, we do a bunch of in-house training, both for our colleagues here, but also with partners on how to do innovation for social good. So the work we do at Nesta works on complex and systemic issues. So increasingly that means our design and tech work is tackling these kind of wicked challenges. With that in mind, I'm tracking something called systemic design. And what that is combining the best of design thinking with systems thinking, which is really powerful. How can you design something like the global food system? Specifically in that, I'd probably point to things like the Systemic Design Toolkit and the Systemic Design Framework. That also then leads you into something called policy design. And I quite like the Public Policy Design blog by the UK government for that. And then finally, there's this great agency called Public Digital. It's a really good source. They kind of round up their blog of best practice on design, tech, data, and management actually for public benefit. So in the next 5 years, I'd really like to see more orientation towards meeting the needs of people in balance with the planet, rather than just the needs of organizations. I'd also like to see people using design more as a process, rather than just thinking of it as the way something looks or functions. Ideally, they'd see it as a multidisciplinary process to be carried out alongside people with lived experience. So it's starting to happen, but I'd like to see more of it, and that would be challenging or reframing the brief. So particularly, I'd like to see us focusing more on strategic or systemic work, not just stuff at the surface level. Perhaps looking at things from an entirely different perspective or level could be powerful, and to work towards multiple types of value and impact, not just things like engagement or user experience, but think about society as a whole. This is maybe a bit broader and about kind of leading social innovation, and it comes from the world of business even, but it's a book by Stephen Bungay called The Art of Action. So it's a leadership and management book that talks about operating in uncertain or complex environments. What I like about it is that it uses like real world historic examples from 100 years ago, 200 years ago, that have quite literally been battle tested. It comes from the military, a lot of the examples. So I think that's quite interesting to see how you can apply that to social innovation. But what makes me hopeful, so more and more people are turning to the approaches of from design and technology to tackle complex social issues. What that means is that there's more examples, more people, more case studies, and more good practice that we can draw from, and that gives me real hope for the future.